question that I'm going to ask is, like, is this process biased? Some time ago, I read this article that people are more likely to consider solutions to add features rather than remove them. And this was based on some idea of log bricks. The question asked to the people that took part in this experiment was how to fix this, let's call it a building, right? How to make it more stable. And most of the people, they added few new bricks, few new pillars, instead of just taking this one and removing it, right? The question is, don't we do the same with threat modeling? So let's say we have this representation of the system. We identify some threats, and then for those threats, we try to add control mechanisms, security mechanisms, some actions that will mitigate those threats. Instead of doing something that threat modeling was designed for. I mean, threat modeling was designed to change the design of the system in order to avoid certain threats, not just to patch them. So the question is the current threat modeling methodology biased towards like good old patching? Because if we have some diagram of the system, we log some threats that are attached to some flows or to some elements of the system. And then the natural way of processing this output from the threat modeling session is just assigning actions, assigning recommendations to each of those threats, thinking about them individually, not as a whole, or simply patching those small issues, because in the end, a threat is a potential risk, potential vulnerability. If in the process after the threat modeling we just run a pen test session or a source code review to actually verify if those threats apply to the system, for some of these threats we'll find vulnerabilities and we'll patch them, right? So assigning actions to each of these threats individually is just good old patching, right? The question is, do we need something else? For example, if we redesign the system and, for example, we don't use a web application and a server, rather just use some serverless components and a database in the cloud as a service, maybe we'll just not happen to have those threats in our system, right?